clumsy.
No, we're a fly. I was pushing a fly off the nose.
Nonsense, there aren't any flies. It's winter.
You were a fly, I saw it.
You didn't see anything, kind Smith. Mr. Pitt tripped over his feet. Why doesn't admit he trips over his feet? I don't know.
I did not trip over my feet. There is nothing wrong with my feet.
All right, pick 'em up. Pick 'em up. Just pick up those orders and get on with it.
You know why we have flies here in the winter time?
No, I don't, Mr. Ford.
Well, they get trapped in here in the summer, you see, and then they're too weak to fly away.
All right, that'll do.
Are you all right, Mr. Pitt?
Thank you, Mr. Smith, yes.
If they get trapped in here all summer, then they just freeze to death. I know that particular fly quite well.
I said that'll do.
Sit down, you stupid old booby.
Who said that? Who said that? Stop work. Turn round, Mr. Ford, and look at me. I'm going to have that desk turned round the other way. I always said I would. Mr. Smith, that was your voice.
No, Mr. Bender.
Mr. Pitt.
Certainly not.
Mr. Ford.
What?
What did you say?
I said I'd made the acquaintance of that particular fly that flew up Mr. Pitt's nose.
I will not tolerate anarchy.
Anarchy? You wouldn't recognise anarchy if it jumped up and bit you.
What did you say?
Me. I said it. Me. You're a stupid old booby. They've a word for you nowadays. You're a company narc. You're a snooper. You're a wicked capitalist lickspittle. Why you persecute poor old Herbert makes me sick.
I can look after myself, you know.
Mr. Ford, go and collect your card.
No, I won't, you stupid old booby. I'll collect my cards when this firm goes bankrupt. That won't be long now. Then we'll all collect our cards. And then we'll meet outside and we'll fight. You choose your weapons, Mr. Bender. Mine are bombs. Oh, fool.
Get on with your work, all of you. I don't see why I should have put up with you any longer, Mr. Ford. I shall see Lady Flanders personally. You're senile, but then it's not your fault. You should have been retired 10 years ago.
I tell you, they are pilfering. They're all pilfering. Mr. Bender says so.
Oh, Bender would say anything you say.
You put the security check on the gate. We've caught nobody smuggling out blankets yet.
Yes, well, there may be a security check one end, but there's no check on how many blankets we weave.
Perfectly right.
The looms are always breaking down. There must be hundreds of reasons.
It's impossible to get parts for the looms. That's right, isn't it, Fernand?
Yes, I'm afraid so. And Mr. Friend is right. Since we've got rid of half the checkers, there's no complete tally.
Of course not.
Molly, you're using this pilfering scare to obscure the issue. The mill's running down, running out of bread.
Oh, it's not only pilfering. Now there's to be a strike. I've never heard anything like it.
I'm sorry, you're wrong.
Don't contradict me, William. If anybody leaves their looms over this union recognition business, I will dismiss them.
Cozy lambs in the dark ages, as far as I'm concerned. Even on the wages we pay, there hasn't been a dividend for years.
Not since you took over as chairman, Molly.
I do hope you're not suggesting
It wouldn't be
that
so bad if we were on course, but we're in the red.
As company secretary, Lady Flanders, I must warn you that we can't meet our present commitments.
Bills, Molly, haven't been paid for years.
We may have to wind up or even face prosecution.
You refuse to rationalize to get new plant when it could have been replaced.
It's falling to bits. It's decrepit.
Recognize the union, for God's sake.
You talk about the unions, William. We don't even recognize the wholesalers. We're supposed to be in the international blanket.
I have here a report from Mr. Bender, the manager of our orders department, a valued employee in my company. He says there has been pilfering, card playing, and wasting of time on that particular mill floor. I am tightening up here. I want this factory run as Wally used to run it. And I will not recognize unions, meddlers, middlemen, and fiddle-faddle of any kind. Now, do you all understand that?
Evening, George.
Oh, working late again, Mr. Bender?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
Oh, they get their money's worth out of you, don't they?
Well, that's not the proper way of looking at it, is it? It's up to every one of us at moments of crisis to give that little extra. I did it for Lord Flanders, and I see no reason. What is it?
Would you mind coming inside for a moment, Mr. Bender?
Certainly.
Is it some kind of joke?
Is what some kind of joke?
This?
Mr. Bender has robbed a bank? Oh, no. No.
Molly, are you all right?
Oh, yes. Yes, I'm all right. I'm not popping off just yet, William. Thank you very much. Superintendent, do sit down.
Thank you, Lady Flanders. Now, Lady Flanders, I didn't say that he had robbed a bank. I said that he might have done. I was going on to say that the local CID had passed the case on to us because they think it highly unlikely that this money is the haul from a bank raid. Much more likely to be fraud within the company, this company.
Bender has defrauded this company of £40,000? Oh, I don't believe it.
Then the money is ours.
I do not believe it, Bender.
Yes,
He is the
but don't you
best.
see, Molly, this could be our money. Only yesterday we were talking about ways of raising capital to pay off our immediate commitments. Well, here it is. It's a godsend.
We haven't yet proved that it is Bender, Sir William.
Jolly well, prove
Can't
it,
be
then.
Bender. You find it
That's
wasn't
not the-
Bender.
No, Sir William, Lady Flanders, with great respect, I have only just arrived here.
Yes.
Now, then, a man has been recognized in leaving your premises with a huge sum of money. Naturally, I will start an investigation immediately.
But the police have been here for days. The police found no discrepancies in the accounts office. Nothing is missing, let alone £40,000.
That was the local CID, madam. We are the fraud squad.
I don't care who you are. You've got to do better than this. Instead of jumping to conclusions, why
We're
don't...
jumping to no conclusions, madam.
I have been robbed for years. You know that? I've had my suspicions, and now this proves them.
What exactly does it prove? That Bender's been fiddling the books?
There are 500 young girls here. Have you spoken to them, the operators? They are talking about striking.
No, madam.
Oh, Molly, do be sensible. How could they take £40,000 and plant it on Bender? Do be rational.
What about the directors of this company? I don't trust one of them.
Oh, Molly, what nonsense.
I wouldn't put it past any of you.
But to pitch 40,000 quid and stuff it into Bender's hold all? Really, Superintendent, this is going too far.
When Wally died, you thought you'd get his holdings, didn't you?
How dare you?
But he didn't trust you either. So he put me in here.
Yes, he was doddering at the time.
Me?
You persuaded him into changing his
dare
will.
you
Yes,
say
you
that?
Please, Sir William. Lady Flanders, please. Lady Flanders, are you suggesting that this money was slipped into Bender's bag?
Yes, I am. By somebody who knew what he was taking, here and there.
But how do you suppose that the person who did that could expect Bender to get past your security man?
Well, perhaps Bender didn't give his search. I mean, he knew the security man well. Perhaps he thought George wouldn't look in his bag. Well, in any case, I've dismissed Bender. We'll have to find a new manager for the order department.
You what? What right did you do that?
Every right as managing director of Cozy, whatever it is. I am entitled to hire and fire. I don't have to ask permission.
You do have to ask permission. I still hold 51% of the shares, you know. This is a family firm. Bender was hired by my husband.
But he was stealing your money. We can't have men working.
I will have anyone I like working here. You will reinstate him at once.
I will not.
I will call a meeting of the board.
Molly, we can't keep on having board meetings every time I make a decision.
The income tax authorities have decided they made a mistake in your case. They've asked me to apologize and return the money.
They must be joking, sir. They owe me double that.
Can I have the elastic bands? I'm saving them.
What for?
Well, you string them together and make mobiles out of them. They dance. Oh, pretty. These are beauty.
Well, you can't have them. It's this Cozy Lamb business, Gamble. I want you to go there and see this fellow they're holding for questioning at Main Road Police Station. They can't hold him there much longer without charging him.
Peculiar smell, sir. Smells like burning and sweets. Sergeant?
The divisional CID had put it through the mincer. It's biscuits and coal dust.
Coal tar biscuits?
Oh, very funny. The nearest they could guess was that he kept it in biscuit tins. They found nothing at his home.
Did they look up the chimney?
You're working very well on this case, Sergeant.
Say, what about the serial number, sir?
Well, some of them go back a long way. They're more than 30 years old. But there's nothing there that's out of circulation. Seems that our chap was clever enough to change his notes as they were withdrawn.
Did divisional CID turn over anybody else's place?
Yes, everyone in his department, they drew a blank.
Something else. It's rather unpleasant.
What?
Don't know.
What's this chap's name, sir?
Bender. Roland Arthur Nugent Bender. And if you have as much luck with him as I had with Lady Flanders, well, you get precisely nowhere.
I've been dismissed. Thrown out of work after 38 years. I've worked and worked, ruined my eyes. The doctor told me I had spinal curvature. When can I leave here?
And look, this Mr. Ford.
Yes, Mr. Ford.
Well, who is Mr. Ford?
He's a clerk in my office.
How long has he worked with the company?
39 years. He started there 10 years before I did. He's a Bolshevik.
He's a what?
A Bolshevik.
A Russian.
No. He's a Bolshevik old man. He hates me. He always has. I'd stood enough. He's insulted me for the last time. I put in my report to Lady Flanders on Pilfin in the factory, and I was going to write her a memo about him, saying I couldn't work in the department with him a minute longer.
So he put £40,000 in your bag just to get you into trouble?
Precisely.
Do you think they'll ever make a film of this? Only if it was £20, £30, £50, but 40,000, Mr. Bender.
Well, I don't know, do
Well,
I?
sums of that amount aren't kept on the premises. That much we do know.
Yes.
And you hold the keys to the safe.
Yes.
You could have taken a little bit each week over the past 30 years, couldn't you?
But we'd need a complete falsification of the books.
Which you hold. They're handed in to you.
I know that. I've been through all that with the other detectives. You take a look at my books. They have. There's no falsification there.
Pornographic literature was found on the top shelf of your airing cupboard.
I told them I don't know anything about it.
Belonging to the wife, then?
Certainly not.
Planted on you like the notes.
Well, I don't know.
You buy young girls drinks in public houses.
I don't see what's wrong with that. I buy people's drinks. It's my own affair.
You spend a lot on your girls, according to local
I do
public
not.
houses.
Glass of port, perhaps. But they're not my girls. Poking about in people's private lives is indecent.
You've accumulated this money over many years.
I did not.
You took it out of the safe,
I did not.
concealed it in the office,
No.
and then when the company started their security checks, you knew it was just a matter of time before that money was discovered.
It's not true.
And thinking that the security man wouldn't check your bag, you tried to take it home.
I didn't think anything of the kind.
All right, clear off.
You mean I can go?
Yes, go.
How do I tell the wife about my dismissal?
I'm afraid that's your problem.
Anything?
No, sir, nothing. I had to let him go.
Well, have him followed.
What now, sir?
Now, take that down. As you seem to have so much time on your hands, Sergeant, I've arranged a little job for you. Clocking on job.
Well, I thought I was on his case, sir.
Yes, you are, but there's a vacancy in the audit department at Cozy Lab, and I've arranged with Sir William Turk to fill it.
What sort of job, sir?
Manager, take over from Bender. If the other directors and Lady Flanders are anything to go by, there's a surfeit of curious characters in this firm. We don't know nearly enough about them.
Well, I don't know anything about clerking, sir.
Well, you will behave as if you do. I've arranged with Sir William for you to be introduced as the new broom that sweeps clean.
I've got it. I knew it. I knew I could smell something else. These notes, you know what they smell of?
What?
Cats.
We in textiles live in a changing world. When I was in America this year, I was deeply impressed by the many innovations in textiles, cotton and wool weaving that have taken place since my last visit 2 years previously.
we must keep up to date. We must. And for that purpose, we need young blood. Even in a department such as this. Indeed, especially so. And that is why I want you to welcome Miss Jones and give her all the help you can. Mr. Bender had his methods. Tell her about those. But at the same time, she will be looking for ways to improve the system here.
How is Lady Flanders, sir? We've been very concerned. I believe she had a heart attack.
Well, I'm delighted to say that it wasn't serious. Mere heart flutters, we are told.
Oh. How about Mr. Bender, sir? Has he been arrested yet?
No. No, I hear he's been questioned and released, at least for the moment.
I was questioned. They tore my place to pieces.
Yes, well, we'll forget about all those excitements now, shall we? I leave Miss Jones in your capable hands. Miss Jones is going to try and drag us into the computer age. And that's going to be some drag, don't you think, Miss Jones, looking round this office? Ah, Mr. Pitt will conduct you through the routine. Good luck.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Jones.
Where can I leave my coat and things?
Oh, yes, sir. Oh, please come with me, Miss Jones. Oh, it's going to be a little difficult. Well, it'll be most difficult. I mean, we're not fitted out for ladies here. Well, down the corridor.
I'll manage. Oh, yes, you're very cramped. You need a bigger cloakroom, don't you? Well, I'll see to that. Ah, I hear the police have been in.
Yes, it was a very strange affair. Your predecessor, Mr. Bender, was caught making off with a lot of money. £200,000.
400,000. 400,000, definitely.
Where can I leave my bag?
Just under the coats
Isn't there anywhere else?
That's where he kept the money. Oh, I wish I'd known about it. 1,000 is all I need. Deposit on a house, little car.
All right.
Oh, excuse me, please.
No.
Well, I understand how you must all be feeling. When I applied for this job this morning, or rather yesterday, I didn't realize that, well, I can see it.
It's a question of seniority. Mr. Pitt has been here the longest, then Mr. Ford, then me.
I didn't want Bender's job.
It's most unlike Lady Flanders to rush someone in like this. Perhaps she didn't know. Perhaps it was Sir William's decision.
I am sorry. I expect you thought you were going to take over the office.
No, well, indeed. Not at all. I've never coveted Mr. Bender's post.
I do think it's unfair. I'd like you all to know I think it's most unfair for someone as young as myself to
It's
be...
very difficult for you, Miss Jones. Now, I suggest we just make Miss Jones welcome and give her every possible assistance.
Thank you.
I second that.
Thank you very much.
Now, this way, Miss Jones. Here are the keys of the office and the safe.
That's how he did it, you see. Mr. Bender opened all the letters and the ones with money, and Gossett took the money out, put it in the safe. But he kept £2 or £3 back every day. He did somewhere, mounts up, you know.
We had the police here all day. I think the best thing to do is to take Miss Jones right through from the moment an order comes to this office. Now, this is the incoming mail. Anything for the upper office goes in there.
Mr. Bender dealt with all the mail.
Yes, he always has.
I open a letter.
Yes, no, with this.
Oh.
Ah, yes, now, that's an order from a retailer in Tralee for a dozen blankets. White with pink rabbits, children's cut size. Now, that goes to Mr. Williams.
Well, we must get all these sorted out.
Yes, Mr. Williams, will you be so good as to show Miss Jones what you do with this order?
Yes. Come with me, miss.
Well, you see, what I do is this. I enter this order into this ledger here. You see, I'm Ireland. Anything from Ireland comes to me. Anything from Ireland.
From Ireland, yes, I understand.
But only Ireland. Not anywhere else. Old Pitt thought he was going to take over this department when Bender got the boot. Got a terrible shock when he saw you this morning.
I see. And after the ledger?
Well, I thought I'd better tell you in case he starts getting difficult. Then I make out an order form. One of these order forms. 2 copies. Keep the carbons in the drawer. In here.
I see.
In there. This is one that I've just made out. Order form, see?
Yes.
Go on that pile. After that pile, they go into that tray.
Well, that seems rather a long-winded operation, doesn't it?
Not if you properly understand how we work. Then I get up. And I take the order form. The first copy, not the top copy.
First copy?
Which is the second one down.
Yes.
And I take it to Mr. Ford. Oh.
You can make head or tail of this, I don't know.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Here you are,
Don't
then.
thank me.
Miss Jones, you sit down here, then. That's it. I'll sit here. Now, then. Miss Jones, I'll introduce you to the wonders of Jim Ford's box of tricks. Now, I take the order form, and with a few waves of my magic pen, I turn it into a packaging docket. 2 copies, so that becomes that in the twinkling of an eye. I've still got a bit of a twinkle in my eye, wouldn't you say, eh? Not bad for an older man, eh?
Tell me, Mr. Ford, how long have you been turning order forms into packaging dockets with your magic pen?
Oh, years and years. I used to be Ford Scotland, you know, rather like that. Well, when you opened the letters and read them, you got a real smell of the heather. Oh, I love old Scotland. But I mean, sitting there, looking at Bender all day. Couldn't stand that. So it has to be transferred to the packaging invoices desk here with me back to him. Now I look at that wall, but I like it better than Bender.
You didn't like Mr. Bender, then?
He's a capitalist lackey. Death to all capitalist lackeys.
What happens to the packaging docket, then?
This is what keeps me active, keeps me on my toes. Now, I take my copy of the packaging docket, you see, and I take it through here. Through this door here marked packing department. What's in there? It's where they send all the stuff off to the customers, you see. Right, I come back, and I take the order from here, I put it on there like that, and then I'll take this here, I put it on there like that, and workers of the world unite.
You've nothing to lose but your change.
Oh, I like you. Oh, you're going to shake things up round here.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. I'll try.
Death, disaster, and ruin to the system.
I'll drink to that.
Hey, miss. Has he asked you to join his group?
No? What group?
It's called OZO.
What?
OZO.
What's that?
OSO. Stands for the Overthrow of Social Order.
Has he asked you yet?
No.
He will. He's asked all of us. They meet in his room.
Twice a week, Mondays and Fridays.
They're all balmy old men who talk about blowing things up.
Talking about me, Mr. Smith?
No, Mr. Ford.
Oh, yes, you will. Now, if there's anything Miss Stone wants to know, I'll tell her myself. Understand? I've nothing to hide.
I know that, Mr. Ford. I wasn't talking about you.
Oh? Well, Miss Jones, anything they left out, all my teeth are my own. I'm paid up everywhere. My cat's called Sherbet, and it's said, oh, yes. Now, Miss Jones, I am the only one who's had the courage to complain about the conditions we've had to suffer here for the last 40 years. Miss Jones, in the winter there's no heating, you know, and Miss Jones, in the summer the windows don't open, you know. As for the chairs, I complain. No wonder we've all got square bums. Now, I tell you, mine are perforated, especially the one this side. There's something wrong. Now, if there's anything that Miss Jones wants to know, I'll tell her myself. Do you understand?
All right, Mr. Ford, all right.
Right.
Miss Jones, I'd like to welcome you to our little office. And if there's any help you need, please ask me.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. You're England.
Yes.
I'll remember your kind offer. Thank you very much, everybody. That's all quite clear. What next?
You're the fourth policeman to visit me in the past 2 days.
It's all right, I won't touch anything.
Well, they went over everything thoroughly.
I just want to talk to you.
They went through my letters.
Well, I'm afraid that was necessary.
Letters from my deceased wife. Oh, that's my grandchild.
Who do you think it was, Mr. Pitt?
Who took the money? Well, Mr. Bender, of course.
Of course.
Well, the money was found on him. Oh, he's a very sneaky person. We always thought he was up to something. Well, I mean, he's been seen with young girls. A grown man with grown-up children of his own, well known in the town. Look, I can make you a cup of tea very quick.
No, it's all right. I won't be staying that long. What's in this?
Oh, I showed that to the other detective, sir. I keep my own household accounts, everything I earn and spend. It's all in there. It wouldn't be of interest to you, sir, unless you're a clerical turn of mind.
I see it goes back to 1919.
51 years ago, sir. When I first joined Cozy Lamb, I was just out of the army.
May I?
Yes, sir.
Thanks. $1919, week ending May the 22nd, 8 shillings. 8 shillings a week.
It's not as bad as it sounds, sir. It was a big office then. I was a junior.
This week, £12.10. Only £12.10?
After deductions.
You mean you've worked for this firm for 51 years, and that's all you get?
Oh, but you've got to balance against that for my security with the firm. I shall never be dismissed. No one will ever ask me to leave. Why, Lord and Lady Flanders told me themselves that this job is mine forever.
Why, this doesn't make sense.
Well, of course it does, and nobody's ever been able to fault my figures.
No, I'm sorry, it doesn't. Income £12.10, outgoings £13.10.
But have I made a mistake? I believe you're right. Let me do that again. Why, you are right. Well, I've put down £1 too much for something. Now, whatever can that be?
Whatever can it be?
For food, laundry, coal? No, that's all right. Oh, this is very bad. I'll have to go back to school.
And do you keep receipts, Mr. Pitt?
Yes, sir.
May I see them?
Well, yes.
In the meantime, I'd like you to go over precisely every movement that you made on the day the money was taken.
I declare this meeting of always so open.
Where's the minutes of last meeting?
Where's the minute book, then? There isn't any minute book.
What's happened to us?
The same thing has happened to everything else. Now, the first item on the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, where is the agenda?
No agenda, no minutes, Spook, no minutes. What have you done with them?
Look, I thought the police might be coming, so I had to destroy them. Well, it's lucky I did. We'd all have been in Chokey. They looked at everything.
But couldn't you have hidden them somewhere? Now we've got no records.
I couldn't get outside to hide them. There wasn't time.
What have you done with them?
I burnt him. Everything we've done, all gone up in smoke. Broke my heart.
All these years, chipping away at the system. Hundreds of hours of efforts. Unscrewing a bolt here and making loose a nut there. Now, we've got no records of it.
All my work at Cozy Lamb. I spent 3 months putting that last loom out of action. Slowly, bit by bit, every day. Nobody to get hurt, you see. And every move I made, I put down in that diary. Gone. Oh.
It's history lost, you know. I was looking forward to the day when all this would have been recorded, a contribution to the destruction of capitalism.
No. I've always been in favour of the quicker method. Finish it all with one big bang.
Oh, no. Our way goes slowly and gradually. You force the capitalists out of business, thereby easing the path to socialism. That's been the point of our action at Cozy Lamb all this time. And now look at the firm. Isn't it closing down?
Not now.
Not now. What do you mean, not now?
Well, all this money that Bender took, if the police prove it's the property of Cozy Lamb, it gives them some breathing space, doesn't it? I mean, they've got hundreds of thousands they didn't know they had.
Oh, I weren't looking at it like that. That's a blow, that is.
Oh, nothing short of a time bomb will put pay to that company now.
Oh, no, I'd never let you do that. Some poor child might get hurt. I'm against violence.
Best stick to the rules of the organisation. You know, we thought that you'd pinch that money and planted it on Bender.
Oh, well, if I'd taken my money, I wouldn't have wasted it on Bender. What makes you think that?
I won again.
All right, sir, but I'm coming. You wait like a good cat. I am a founder member. Any big money coming my way would have gone straight to OSO.
Still, that would be daft now, wouldn't it? I mean, look what's happened. You've been raided and all our books have gone west.
Well, I didn't take it, so put that idea right out of your head. Bender took it, and now he's got the sack. Why the police haven't put him in the strong box, I don't know. I mean, there's enough evidence.
I wish you had taken it instead of him. Would have been justice, wouldn't it? You've given that firm your...
But 40-odd years. Why, there's a lovely car. You have all right. And
you don't live in taking back the true value of your work.
A little bit out of the till, here and there. Take back what the bosses have screwed out of you. Oh, Lady Flanders, the bag.
That old sow, I'll soon put her out of business.
And then I caught the bus and came home here. I cooked myself a small meal. I always leave it ready in the larder, covered with a cloth.
Yes. Hang on, Mr. Pitt. What rent do you pay?
£3.10.
Right. Why have you got it down in the ledger as £4.10?
Have I?
See for yourself.
Good gracious me, what a stupid mistake.
No, it's not just one stupid mistake, Mr. Pitt. The same mistake goes back over 8 years. £1 too much.
But every week?
Yes, it starts in 62. Your rent then was £2.10. You've got it down as £3.10.
It's a recurring mistake. Good gracious, yes.
I'll say it's recurring. You've made the same mistake 400 times.
Well, that happens, you see. The more methodical and routine a mathematical equation becomes, the more one tends to repeat an error.
Oh, is that a fact? You're asking me to believe that you, a clerk, handling figures in the same department for 51 years, show in your own domestic accounts a discrepancy each week for 8 years of exactly 20 shillings? You're asking me to believe that, Mr. Pitt? Seriously?
Oh, yes.
Oh, come in. Well?
Well, Superintendent. Well, there's nothing conclusive yet, I'm afraid.
Nothing conclusive. You've been another day.
Found nothing.
I am talking, William.
Oh, sorry.
It's just not good enough. Our audit department is being disrupted by the presence of a policewoman masquerading as a head clerk. Thousands of pounds are being snaffled away from under our very noses. And you come here and say there's nothing to report.
Well, we have our methods, Lady Flanders, just as you have yours. Rome wasn't built in a day, you know. And my staff have worked very hard, but I haven't yet received their reports. I've been going over the books with Mr. Furness. And there's sort of extraordinary expenditure by you, Sir William, and the other directors, Mr. Albertson and Mr. Friend, involving trips abroad.
What of it?
To say nothing of Mr. Blay and Mr. Holly, who are now touring Japan and Yugoslavia, respectively.
What business is that of the police?
We're looking for a deficit of £40,000, Sir William.
And did you find it?
May I?
Oh, of course. Well?
Last year, Sir William spent £6,000 on a trip to California.
£6,000? I didn't know it was as much as that.
I told you that. You had a statement.
£6,000.
The International Bedding Exhibition. We have to keep abreast.
Why?
Of the latest styles and designs in the industry.
Why do we have to?
In case we expand. We're trying to burst into the international market, Molly.
I see. So that you can take your family on a little jaunt to California for 2 months.
What nonsense. This is not a police matter, Superintendent. You had no right to bring it up.
I had to go through all your receipts, bills, and invoices to see whether there was anything that couldn't be accounted for.
Ah.
Well, the expenditure on this has been tremendous.
Why? Why has all this money been spent? Friend goes to Australia for a textile convention. I seem to remember that was £4,000.
Well, you didn't
I
realize
was
that.
right. You're thieves, the lot of you. I spoke to Wally's solicitor this morning, so I know what you're up to. You take out £1,000 a year in fees. The rest you spend in expenses. That way, you get all this money without paying tax. And that is your racket.
I entertain some of the top buyers in bedding. We need them.
Where are the orders then?
Well,
Go on! We haven't had a dollar bill in this place for 10 years.
Well, I told her that it was quite legal and could all be accounted for. But there's no doubt that the directors are having a spree at the firm's expense.
Well, my money's on Pitt, sir.
No, it's Bender. I have a feeling. Have him brought in. I'll see him.
Look, Pitt's been fiddling his own domestic accounts. Now, why should he do that? I mean, he couldn't make that sort of mistake.
No, Ford's had a grievance against the firm for 40 years. He claims it's bleeding him and everyone else dry.
And he's right. Do you know what Pitt's wages are after 51 years? I mean, God only knows what they're paying the operatives.
So Ford, I reckon, has been taking small sums out of the safe. Sums of money he believed were owing to him. Then Bender was going to get him booted out of the firm, so Ford uses the money to keep his job, you see.
£40,000, Sergeant. Don't be daft.
Just a minute. When you've quite finished, you two, I think what we have to recognize is that we're dealing with people here who aren't quite normal.
Oh, I disagree, sir. I think they're very sane. And I've got a soft spot for old Pitt.
It's not your job to have a soft spot for anybody.
How you can call an old nut like Ford sane, I don't know.
Look, if I'd worked there for 40 years, I'd have put a bum under the place.
Oh, that's nonsense. With respect, sir.
Now, look, Sergeant, I mean, I know you've been there.
Stop it, don't have it. We're dealing with a serious matter here. £40,000 has appeared from nowhere. It's our responsibility to find out if the money's been misappropriated, so let's have no more of this, please.
Sorry, sir.
Well, I've been sitting there,
Sergeant
sir.
Hicks.
I haven't...
I'm asking you to consider just this one point.
Yes,
If Bender didn't take the money, then who did? But most important of all, what is the motive behind somebody putting as much money as that into Bender's bag?
Well, I think the motivation's...
Sergeant Hicks.
Well, if it was planted, it could have been Ford or Pitt. Williams hasn't been with the firm long enough to accumulate notes of that age. Well, the safe is open, but nothing seems to have been missed, so that means fiddling around with the books. But the books are clean. No erasures. Well, it's all down there, sir. Oh, by the way, Ford's been sabotaging the looms.
Yeah. He's been doing what?
Slowing them down, creeping in, loosening them or something. Well, I've got to get back. It's my lunch hour.
Just a minute, Sergeant. Now, a firm that is on the rocks, that's coming to a dead stop because its antiquated chairman refuses to modernize, whose directors are getting away with thousands annually by working the expenses racket, and whose machinery is being sabotaged by a 73-year-old clerk in the orders department, has a head clerk who's hated by the staff, upon whom is found £40,000, possibly misappropriated from the firm over 40 years, and possibly planted on him for some idiotic reason by two old men. Never, in all my experience as a police officer, have I been faced with such unparalleled lunacy.
And to cap it all, Pitt is probably paying 2 rents.
What?
£1 a week over 8 years. One constant pound a week overpaid on the rent, which probably means that Pitt is running 2 places, sir.
Have him followed. Have Bender followed. Have Pitt followed. Have everybody followed. Every minute of the day and night, every move they make, every step. But there's got to be a reason for all this.
Ah, thank you, Sir William.
Pleasure, Inspector.
And Mr. Pitt, please sit down. Do you recognize these?
Yes, they're the office ledgers.
Yours?
Yes, sir.
Do you recognize this?
Yes, sir.
And whose money is that?
Belongs to the company, sir.
All right. Please explain.
I'm a little shocked, sir.
I'll bet you are.
No, I mean, it's difficult to find words.
Yes, I'll bet.
I was a very young man, sir.
Yes, well, go on.
Well, I took these home from the office. I bought identical ledgers and I copied out every entry, just leaving out 3 or 4. I pinched the dockets of Mr. Ford's files. I changed the money whenever the notes went out of circulation.
You took the money out of the safe when Mr. Bender wasn't looking.
Yes, sir. That was always very difficult. But I developed an art.
Did you? Oh, Mr. Pitt. This 38 quid and 40,000, I mean, tell me, was there any more?
Yes, sir. I spent some on my granddaughter. Oh, I was very extravagant, sir. Well, I spent £32.6 and 8 pence on her last birthday. Oh, she's a very pretty girl, sir. I wish I could see her.
And I suppose this was her Christmas present?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you didn't spend any on yourself?
Oh, no, sir.
No, why didn't you destroy these ledgers and things? I mean, you might have got away with it.
Couldn't destroy these ledgers, sir. What figures are to be accounted for? I couldn't destroy ledgers. I would like murder. I couldn't do it.
Because you never cheat?
No, sir, I try not to.
You wouldn't call filching 20 quid a week over the past 40 years cheating, then?
Just occurred to me, sir. Well, you must have found my friends, the cats.
Yes, we found 1 or 2.
That's why I didn't want you to know about the rent of the cottage, you see. Well, they have a right to live. They're strays. Some people just take the cats into the countryside and leave them. They're homeless. Well, some of them leave home because they're not very good homes.
But the cats...
They aren't doing any harm, sir. I'm feeding them. Well, I make a fire for them in the winter when it's very cold. Cats feel the cold.
Yes, quite, Mr. Pitt. Now, look, do you think perhaps we could get back to the money?
Yes, sir. Well, at first I was saving up to buy a car. We were married. Robert was a little boy. But then one day it occurred to me I can't buy a car or change my way of life at all, because then I shall be suspected. So I didn't.
Oh, but you still went on taking the money.
I couldn't stop, sir. It had become a sort of fascination. A sort of drug, I suppose. You see, I was manipulating a lot of money. I think that must be every clerk's dream, to manipulate money. The money grew and grew, every week, every year. I think the most wonderful feeling was just going through these accounts, sir.
Yes, well, they're very well kept.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Look, why did you put the 40,000 in Mr. Bender's hold-all?
Well, I had to, sir. The mill was going to be shut down. Well, Lord Flanders had been so good to me over all the years.
Oh, no.
Are you feeling all right, sir?
Yes, I'm all right. Please go on.
As I was saying, sir, he'd been so good to me over all these years, and now Cozy Lamb was going bankrupt. And I'd done it. I'd made them go bankrupt. Well, they needed the money. I had to give it back to them. But I had to find a way of doing it without being caught. I'm terrified of going to prison, sir. When I pass on, I don't want to be in prison, not locked up. Now it's going to happen.
Mr. Pitt, why did you use Bender to get the money back to the company?
Oh, he's an impossible man, sir. He's always getting at you. He tries to make out I'm senile. I'm not a senile old man who can't control himself like he says. Well, you've only got to look at these figures, sir. My hand's perfectly steady. And he's been seeing the young girl.
Yeah, Mr. Pitt, look, I'm afraid I'm going to have to take you to the station. I'm charging you with the misappropriation of £40,000. Now, you needn't say anything in answer to this charge, but anything you do say will be taken down in writing and maybe given in evidence.
There's one thing I want to say, sir.
Oh, what's that?
Who's going to feed the cats?
when Sir William told me, I said it's not possible. Not Pitt.
Mr. Pitt, yes, ma'am.
You're wrong.
I'm sorry, Lady Florence.
No.
Documents and the rest of
Not Pitt. You've got hold of the wrong man. He's the oldest employee in this firm. My husband gave him a beer mug at his son's christening. Pitt is completely trustworthy.
I'm sorry, Lady Florence.
Oh, then you'll have to think again, won't you? I've just been through my company's books, and I have discovered that over the past 5 years, my directors have robbed me of more than £100,000.
Molly, if you say that sort of thing again, I will...
You'll what? Just what will you do?
I have a solicitor, you know. There is such a thing as the law of,
I happen to be talking to the law.
I'm not talking to the law of slander.
That's a good idea, William. Let's all go to court. Let's fight this whole thing out in court.
I would welcome that.
But you're not spending that £40,000 on this holiday in Switzerland.
It is not a holiday, it is a blanket convention for top people.
Oh, so you forgot to tell Lady Flanders that Ford's been tinkering with the looms. So she wouldn't let me get a word in edgeways, would she? Besides, she wouldn't have believed me even if I had told her. How do you make those things?
There's one question I'd like to ask, sir.
What's that?
Who's going to feed those cats? No, I'm serious. Who's going to feed them? Who's going to give them their last meal before we shop them to the council? And who's going to shop them to the council? Oh, come on, hungry ones. Some milk. Come on, little one. You need bills.
Unofficial strike. It's Cozy Lamb Blanket Factory. Would you believe it?